Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things. He might have the same word for us. Years ago, at the Welshmoors, we had an English sermon on this gospel, and it was a very simple story. It was that the priest in question, Good Father Murphy, when he was younger, had gone to see two maiden aunts of his, and they were so glad to see him that they made a big fuss, and while he was with them, they were preparing a lovely tea. The only thing was that he had a deadline and he had to leave just as the tea was ready to be served. And so the sacrifice of going out of his way to spend the time with them evaporated in the deadline, and the essential was lost, and the encounter never happened. It could be our case as well, but with the Lord. The notion of the unum necessarium comes here, but the actual original meaning might simply be one dish is enough. The echoes, however, that have come through from centuries of commenting this with regard to the one thing necessary does still ring true. For it is our case that we go into activism and miss that privilege that we can claim, which Mary did, and she was praised by the Lord. Indeed, there is also here a possible double meaning. Mary has chosen the good portion. Now, the fact that it's not going to be taken away from her is picked up also by the authors, for it is something that pertains to the angelic life of the soul. It will be adoring forever. And so the contemplative life has something of the life in patria, in the homeland, whereas the active life is for the life in via, on the way. Thomas Merton talks about the way that actually in the contemplative life itself, one is, because of the necessity of serving, in a form of active contemplation. But Thomas Aquinas teaches that in the contemplative life, all the actions that are in it participate in the merit of contemplation because they are at its service. We tend in the West to make this big division between the active and the contemplative life. In the East, as actually in the Celtic Church of old, they weren't quite so absolute. They had something of what the Premonstratensians have to this day, ready for every good work. And though they were in some way anchored in hours of prayer and therefore limited, they nevertheless were free to fly, for obedience sent them and found no resistance on the level of the will. And they also did not switch off from contemplation as they went, finding the God of gods in the beauty of nature that issued from his hands, and also being in that mode of uninterrupted prayer wherever they went. That is the bit that we miss out on. And moreover, we are in danger of making that bit difficult because of the added complications that we have added to our day. It would be well to remember, when opening a machine that will take it away, which might be in our pocket, this gospel. Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things. One thing is needful. Be still, my soul,